Am I the a-hole for asking my bio-father's wife uncomfortable questions in front of her family? I, 16F, have had a bad year. My mom died in February and nothing has really gone well since then. She and my bio-father were never married and he wasn't around while I was growing up. I have like a vague memory that he visited once when I was really little, but otherwise he hasn't been around. He says it was because he wasn't ready to be a dad, so it was better that he sent my mom child support and stayed away. Whatever. My mom doesn't have a lot of family, so when she died my bio-father was the one who was asked to take me and he agreed. I wasn't a fan of the idea, but no one really cares what I think and it's better than being in the group home I was at while they figured everything out. He's been okay and mostly lets me do my own thing. His wife Cheryl treats me like I came from juvie and bothers me about every little thing from my clothes to the way I do laundry to telling me not to get in trouble like I can't just go to school without doing something shady. They have 2 sons, 6 and 3, and the 6-year-old mimics her riding my ass. I told my bio-father and he said he would talk to her, but now she just does it when he's not around. Her family was over to visit this weekend and her mom asked how I was settling in at school. Cheryl commented that I was staying out of trouble. I was nearby and it just hit a nerve, so I said, "Why do you think I would get in trouble?" She looked embarrassed and said that she knew I came from a rougher area and might not know how things worked here. I asked her what she meant by rougher area and she said it was more urban. I think her mom was embarrassed for her and said that she was sure I've always been well behaved. I asked Cheryl why she thought living in the city meant I would get into trouble. My bio-father walked up then and the subject changed, but later Cheryl was mad because I embarrassed her in front of her mom and implied things. I think her mother must have said something. Bio-father asked me about what happened and now they're mad at each other, but he says I should have talked to him instead of picking a fight. Am I the a-hole for firing one of my babysitting clients? I 17F babysit part-time and have been for the past 2 years. In that time I've gotten some regular families who will have my babysit. One of my first clients was Mackenzie. She's 21 and has a 5-year-old daughter Ally. Her mom and my mom are close friends. She was one of my first clients and because I was doing it as a favor to my mom I gave her a reduced rate, $10/hour. My other clients pay $15 to $25/hour depending on how many kids they have and the kid's age. Recently I decided to fire Mackenzie and stop babysitting Ally. I babysit Ally at least once a week if not more. Over the summer I was basically Mackenzie's daycare plan where I agreed to take care of Ally while she worked for $200 per week. I'd also babysit her on the weekends a lot so Mackenzie could go party with her friends. After a few weeks of her coming home hours later with not text or warning I told her that I'd begin charging her double for every hour she's late. So if I was supposed to babysit from 7 to 11 that'd be $40. But if I was supposed to babysit 7 to 11 and she came home at 3 a.m. then she'd need to pay me $120. She wouldn't pay more than the $40 unless her mom made her pay or her mom would pay it for her. She kept coming home late and began to stop paying me. I kept track and sent her a text telling her that unless she paid me what she owed I wouldn't babysit Ally at all. She did after 2 weeks of me not answering any requests to babysit, but I decided to fire her anyway and tell her I won't be babysitting for her again because of her refusal to pay me. Also without babysitting Ally so much I can babysit for other people who pay more. My mom and her mom are really upset since she can afford other childcare and they keep telling me just to babysit for her and they'll make sure that she pays me or pay me for her. Am I the a-hole for telling my son why don't you beg? I got out of a shitty relationship with my ex. It was a nightmare of a divorce and I got the blame even though the kids know he cheated on me. I got the blame since I asked for the divorce. This happens when our oldest was 15, let's call him Eric. He was a nightmare at the time. He bullied his younger sibling. I had to drag him to therapy where he refused to talk. We tried people he picked but it was a nightmare. He wanted to live with my ex but he didn't want him to live with him. When he went to college I had hoped that him spreading his wings will help him since nothing I did worked. It did not. He basically pretended no one existed unless he needed cash. My breaking point with him was he was 21 and I gave him a text asking if he will make it for Christmas. He told me to beg him to come and he will consider it. I refused, gave an invite and he didn't show. I kept giving him invites to family events but stopped this year. He is now 25. My 2 daughters are official no contact with him this year. We are in contact, but it's rare we talk. He called yesterday asking if I could talk to his sisters and convince them to meet up with him. I told him to leave them alone but he kept going. After a while of him not taking my no for an answer I told him why don't you beg and I will consider it. He got pissed, called me a jerk and hung up. Maybe I went too far with him but it's so hard to tell so I came for an outside opinion. Will I be the a-hole for canceling Christmas? I, 31F, am tired of planning vacations for my ungrateful husband, 33M, and his twin. My husband and I have been together for 7 years, and married for 3 months. We both work high-stress jobs, with high incomes and no children. We are frugal and spend our money on savings and trips. In our relationship, I plan our retirement, keep track of finances, host friends/family, arrange gifts, make appointments, and plan our vacations. We travel a lot. For his part, he does laundry and cooks and does the dishes more than me. He gets along well with everyone and is the more easygoing one. On our trips, I've asked my husband to help me with tasks ranging from helping me plan beforehand, to finding an Uber. Usually he ignores me until it's too late and I have to make the decision, or he makes mistakes, getting an Uber to the wrong place, or forgetting beach towels I asked him to bring. Mistakes aren't a big deal, but he places the blame for them on me. This issue is not new to us. For our wedding I did 99% of the planning and he promised in return that he would plan a honeymoon. Right before the wedding he looked up a Costco package that was almost twice as expensive as we'd agreed to spend, and that didn't have guaranteed spots. What I really wanted him to do was not to find an all-inclusive unaffordable trip that we didn't go on, but do something that was tailored to us. My husband also has a twin brother that often comes along with us. Like my husband, his twin doesn't help plan and he had never thanked me for planning trips for us. He behaves like coming on the trips is a gift to me. Outside of this, I've tried to be his friend, but I feel no reciprocity. I get him gifts for his birthday and holidays, text and call him, and include him, i.e. asking him if he wants me to write his name on a Mother's Day card when he hasn't helped pick a gift. Right now, we're all on a flight back from Hawaii where I researched hotels and flights, put together schedule, booked hikes and dinners, rented a car, etc. When I brought up the fact that they complained a lot and never said thank you, my brother-in-law said that he told me the sunset was nice and that is the same as a thank you. When I told this to my husband and explained how upset I am with both of them for not helping me, not yelling but definitely not in a calm way, he told me to F myself. My husband also said that if I cancel future trips that I'm no longer invited to my in-laws' Thanksgiving. The one thing is mom plans. I've already planned and booked an elaborate 3-week Christmas trip to Italy for the three of us. They say they wanted to go, while doing nothing, but I just feel exhausted. At this point, I'm considering canceling it entirely, canceling my own portion, or canceling one or both of their portions and going solo. Would I be the asshole if I took one of those paths? Am I the a-hole for insisting my son cook dinner once a week? I, 43F, have two sons, Adam, 17, and James, 15. Adam showed an interest in cooking from a young age and is very talented. He makes dinner for the family 2-3x a week because he enjoys it and it gives him an opportunity to try new recipes. I generally cook the rest of the time, unless it's summer and my husband insists on grilling every day. James was not particularly interested in learning to cook. I did try to teach him the kitchen basics and he can make himself a sandwich and simple things, but he'd rather grab an apple than make himself a meal. A few months back, James began asking Adam in the afternoons to make him a snack, something homemade, and sometimes he'll do it if he's in the mood, but more often than not, he's bothered by the daily requests. I asked James why he can't make a sandwich or have a snack. We always have things like hummus, yogurt, pita, sliced veggies, salsa and chips. I make baked goods often. A good array of decent snacks. He could make a smoothie, there's always frozen fruit. But he said Adam is just better at it and he doesn't know how to make it as good. I felt this was a sign I had dropped the ball, so I decided that James would take over making the family dinner once a week. It didn't have to be fancy, but it had to be at least somewhat balanced and filling. For example, yesterday, he made grilled cheese sandwiches, a salad and tomato soup, with a side of cut strawberries. A very simple but good meal. Packaged soups and things are fine as long as that's not all. I helped him with the meal planning and then I would work at the dining room table nearby in case he needed help. He hasn't enjoyed this, but I've still kept on it because it's a really important life skill. Feeding yourself isn't optional. He's been complaining to my mother, his grandma, and she's been calling me to tell me I've let a punishment go on too long. But it's not meant to be that, it's life skill training, and I was very clear with James that this was a permanent change, not a temporary punishment. But she made me feel like an absolutely terrible mother forcing unpleasant chores on my children. I tried to point out that my own brother is a grown man that lives on takeout because she never taught him to cook, and I didn't want that to be James one day. She hung up on me. My husband is in full support of our new routine, but still, nothing takes you down a peg like being yelled at by your mother, so I'm looking for some other opinions. Is it really that bad?